Hello everyone! Welcome back to this game. Oh boy, when we last left off, I successfully defeated what I assume and am hoping is the final boss, Fornius. Oh my goodness, that is easily one of the most intense final battles I have ever experienced. And, technically speaking, I'm pretty close to max level. I fought every encounter in the game, and encounters in the game are finite. I can't, do any actual grinding. The downside is there were a few fights where somebody didn't get any experience because they were dead at the end of the battle, but aside from that, yeah, I was basically as powered as I was going to get for that fight, so, oh boy. Hey, I did it on my first try! Alright, let's hopefully get the ending now. And Priel gains a level just to spite me. So does Relima. More so Priel, though. A toast to the new heroes of Garenia. Who would have thought you'd beat back Fornius mere days after conquering the arena? Even I'm surprised, and I rate you more highly than anyone. It just goes to show you can't rate me highly enough. Gunnar, don't chew with your mouth open. It's disgusting. But Priel said... Evo, I don't feel so good. It can't be air sickness this time. Did you eat something off the ground? Not today. I must be having a cooties relapse. Speaking of which, Gunnar, what do you think about Perrine? Ooh, a hero's boldness. Perrine? I like her. She's nice. And a villain's cruelty. Even I'm glad she wasn't in the room for that one. Where is she, anyway? She went to tell our parents that I'll be cooking dinner tonight. Priel, you cook? Would you make me dinner? If you get in my oven. Yeah, she's into me. Vayli, if you break that chair standing on it, I'm not fixing it. Gather round all and hear the tale of the mightiest of Dragonkin and her extraordinary exploits. Is it storytelling time? Me next! Suddenly, he's fine. Yeah, it's storytelling time. And this story is just the beginning. Oh, I see what you did there. By the way, for anybody curious about how I've been saying we're at the end of the game over and over, despite the plot clearly not being closed, this is just the first chapter of I don't know how many games. They're still working on the next game at the time of this recording. There's no trace of Valkyrie and Zuleika, then? Keith is looking for leads, but no luck so far. Still, now that we know they're looking for more sacred relics, we might be able to anticipate their movements. I'm sorry I can't tell you more. Despite the time I spent with them, I can only speculate as to their intentions. All I know is that their plans require more than the relics they now possess. It's fine, Fate. I'm just glad we don't have to fight anymore. Me too. What will you do now? I was mistaken to think that I needed to choose between my vow to be strong and our friendship. But meeting Fornius and being powerless again reminded me of the agony of that day. The day my father got hurt saving us in Icefall. I never realized you took it so hard. You're too serious, Fate. Everyone's too serious for you. I can feel that I'm not satisfied with who I am. Even if I can't be invincible, still, I want to train harder. Do what you need to do at your own pace. Just don't forget that we're friends, alright? Thanks, you two. I don't deserve your kindness. Kindness exists for the undeserving. That's how friends are made. And, that's that. I was kind of expecting the music to fade out before we got to, like, the credits and stuff. Well, anyway, that is Sacred Earth Promise. Stay tuned for Sacred Earth, some other title. Maybe. Here's the thing. It is probably pretty clear that I was not entirely enjoying this game. I mean, it has its good points, and it's kind of a shame that it does have its good points, considering how glaring its issues are, I guess. Well, let me start by talking about the good points. The art is good. I like the custom graphics. I like the little scenes that take place sometimes. Still kind of weird that Priel doesn't have a tail during exploration segments. I don't really understand that. I like the music. I can't really say a whole lot about the music, but I do like it. I suppose it would have been nice if the music... well, the audio balancing was a little bit more consistent, because some songs are certainly... there's more. I was not expecting there to be more. Well, let me finish my thought first. I was not expecting... no, I lost track of what I said. Music, audio balancing... yeah, it would have been nice if the audio balancing was a lot more even, because some songs were noticeably louder than others. And that's not completely unusual with video games, but the difference in this game was drastic at times. I can't fault you guys too much for the audio imbalancing, though, because for all I know, you were using one of those monitors that auto-adjusts the volume for you, which is kind of an annoying feature that TVs and stuff have. My monitor actually has that feature, and for whatever reason, turning it off doesn't actually turning it off. It's kind of annoying. Okay, more review in a bit. Let me go ahead and see what's going on with this. In fact, out of curiosity, after the party, you look like you've made up your mind. Yes, I'm not going to fight alone anymore. It's my fault that Kaith and Relima lost track of our thieving teachers, and I failed to learn for what purpose they seek the sacred relics. But even if assisting in the investigation weren't my responsibility, I want to rely on my friends. Friends, huh? Never had a friend seek a summoning spell on me before. Or sick. Yeah, sick. Never had a friend sick a summoning spell on me before. I have no retort. I'm only grateful that somehow your sister still trusts me. You'd think that combat would change her mind. That one's more scared of the spotlight than death itself. I wouldn't have killed any of you. I still got a game over, though. You mean you couldn't have? Right. Priel, there's something I wanted to tell you, though I expect you've already discerned it. I always envied you. You probably never noticed me, but I craved your effortless strength. I cloaked myself in the mantle of a hero. No kidding, Fate. I think the image I cultivated was inspired by you. Wait, Fate is my fault? But now, seeing you fight alongside Perrine, I feel finally able to let that image go. If I envy anything now, is the closest between you. If you're going to say that much, then I at least owe you this. Before we fought, when I was speaking to you, I was speaking to myself. A self from only days ago. I refused to face how I've relied on others, even as I pretended to stand alone. If your pursuit of strength drove you away from the people you love, well, we've got one thing in common. You and I? Exactly one thing. Right. Thanks, Priel. Gratitude used to make my skin crawl. I guess I never knew which me people were thanking. After all that, your friendship endured. It's incredible. We were talking just like old times. You kept your promise after all. So did you. Hey. Yes? What if we keep changing? If I falter again, if I let you down, will that mean that I was a fraud all along? If I become someone you can't look up to, will all this have to be meaningless? Maybe we did keep our promises, and maybe that did keep us together. I'm supposed to be feeling confident now, right? Like we've proven our sororal bond? But I can't help but feel what we have is frail and weak, that we're just barely hanging on. You really have changed. I don't think a promise is made to stop change, Priel. My promise was to Lima, and fate didn't do that. It didn't prevent them from leaving, but it did let them return. I think I'm starting to understand. With you, I don't simply see myself as I am. I start to become who I want to be. I remember the person I told you I'd be, and I believe in her again, in that uncertain me. If you put it that way, then I didn't keep my promise. My promise kept me. Me too. And so the sisters were reconciled, and our story may come to a close. But loose threads yet trail, and much remains unexplained. Who was the girl found in the forest? What were the goals of the strangers in your midst? And what caused a hero's fitful sleep? It's not too late for you to learn the answers. Just remember, next time, to keep your promises. Ooh, new title screen! Perrine finally gets in extra content. Okay, first things first. Bugfragged says that they have the true ending on YouTube. Yeah, I forgot about that true ending situation. A bit of a shame that I don't get to show that off, but, well, maybe anybody watching, despite how long the dungeons are, would be willing to give this game a shot and see if they can find it. Just for people who are watching this after the fact, I will go ahead and throw a link to the game in the stream chat right now. And of course, those of you watching this at YouTube, assuming that I do post it at YouTube, it'll be in the description. Okay, let's check out extra content real quick. Just at least a glimpse. There's a CG gallery. Loading. Interesting to see a loading game in an RPG Maker game. So it seems that this screen is basically all the little skits and stuff that you would find. How do I scroll? How do I scroll? I pressed R and it's not scrolling. Oh, these are like full-size images. Interesting. QW keys. Oh, there we go. Oh, there's a locked image in there. I bet you that's like from some secret that I failed to find. Perhaps the boss. Secret boss. And there's another one right there. Perhaps for the true ending. Character portraits. I won't show all of these. Like I said, maybe anybody willing to play through this game, there's some incentive for you. Check out the gallery. Play the game and eventually unlock the gallery. Garenia Tavern. Let's take a look at what this is. Okay. Mirage 5. You actually came here, huh? I'm surprised you came this far, frankly, but since you're here, I guess I can talk about myself. The Secret Earth series started out for me in the margins of my middle school notebooks. I was a very bad student, actually. All I cared about was drawing and writing about these characters in my head. By the time high school came, I had discovered a little tool called RPG Maker 2003. You can guess what happened then. Right, I immediately started on making my magnum opus at the time. But let me tell you, it was a steaming pile. Yeah, I can relate. I was having so much fun and learning so much. Every day was a blast, and I felt like I was really giving life to my characters beyond the bounds of my notebooks and sketchbooks. Years passed, one magnum opus was let go, and I continued to grow. I made new projects and created new characters. Eventually, this led me to the first game project I would finish on my own, Sacred Earth Bonds. This was the first game featuring the characters that would come to be the ones I would work with for years to come. Priel, Perrine, Vayli, Garnar, and a lot of others. They've been with me for nearly a decade now, and I am happy to finally tell a small fragment of their story for the wider world to see. But you know what my real passion is? Battle systems. I love the heck out of battle systems. The game before this one was called Sacred Earth Memory. It had a complicated battle system that Devin would affectionately dub the Guilty Gear of combat systems. Well, hey, as long as it's not the Dark Souls of combat systems. It has strike chains, bursts, exceed limits, link arts, everything. Sacred Earth Promises battle system is based on a simplified version of that system. Okay, considering how much trouble I had with this battle system, I'm gonna be thankful for that. I hope that you enjoyed playing through with it as much as I enjoyed putting it together. Yeah, we'll get to that in a bit. And if we ever meet again, I'll be sure to have a more advanced battle system ready to challenge you. I am scared. The story of Sacred Earth is only beginning now. Hopefully someday soon, you'll be able to see where it goes from here. Till then... Okay, again, I'm not entirely sure whether I should put all of these on camera or save them as a reward for anybody else who might want to play the game. So, I'm just gonna kind of back out from this and head on back to the title screen. It's a nice title screen after all. So, let me get back to my reviewing then. So, like I said, in regards to my notes, let me get back to where I was in my notes before. The graphics are nice. The lack of tail during exploration is kind of weird. The music is fine. Audio balancing needed balance, but I can't hate on that too much. The story is good. I was definitely very hooked on the story. Not necessarily hooked, but invested. I wanted to see what happened next. I liked the characters. I liked the dialogue. It got some actual laughs out of me So that's pretty good. With that, let's get on to the stuff that I had a problem with. The biggest issue is definitely the size of the dungeons. Mainly the second and third dungeons. The first dungeon was perfect. It was only, well, like, the map segment was only one screen big, and the exploration segments were relatively small. I felt that dungeon was the perfect size. But then we got to the forest, and oh my goodness, that was taking so long. I mean, the map was still one screen, but the exploration segments were just too big in that situation. And then, of course, we come to this final dungeon, which is, oh my goodness, 3 whole streams for me to get through. Again, considering that this was advertised as a 4 to 6 hour game, and it took me like 3 hours just to get to the final dungeon, I feel like maybe I sucked more than I was expected to. Which brings me to the battles. Bugfrag says that the battles aren't that complicated compared to modern RPGs. Well, first off, I have not played very many modern RPGs at all. I think the newest RPG that I played was Final Fantasy XII. So I'm a little bit behind when it comes to new RPGs. And I guess it's not so much that this battle system was complicated, but it was hard for me to keep track of, which I feel is partly my fault. I'm a slow learner, but at the same time, I think it might have helped if the battle system clarified a little more clearly what was going on in battle. Because, like, things were happening so fast that I wasn't able to keep track of it all. And, like, some of the icons weren't entirely clear what they meant. Like, occasionally, I would have 2 identical icons on the same character, and it's like, well, I know what one of them is. One of them is a resistance to a certain spell type, but what is the other identical icon for? I'm sure the game told me whenever it was being afflicted, but again, I was having trouble keeping track of everything that was going on, because the battles move so fast. Now, I can't fault the battles for moving fast. I think that it's actually cool that the battles move so fast. And I think that they should continue moving so fast. It's more so that so much stuff happened at once. The way that these battles work is it's like most RPGs where you input commands for your entire team all at once, and then everything on that turn happens all at once, and that's, for me, a little too much to keep track of. I think it might be a little easier for me personally if it were more like, let's say, Mario RPG, where you input one character's command and the actions take place, and then I don't put in the next character's command until their turn happens to come up. This would especially be helpful whenever somebody's turns are mixed up because of stat changes going on in battle. Like in that one fight where Relima was slowed down, so we suddenly had the turn order different, which threw me off. I also think it might be helpful if, like, the names of spells were displayed on screen. Instead, it's just like visual effects flying everywhere, and I'm not sure completely what's going on. So having like spell names on screen would be a little bit helpful. That would help too. What else? I mean, look at my notes here. Status icons, spells. Oh yeah, I also am not a fan that the higher your level, the less experience you gain from battle. Pokemon Black and White pulled that crap and I hated it. It just made the game feel like so much more of a slog because I needed the experience, but I was being punished for trying to get the experience. That's what it feels like whenever experience is lowered. Now, at least to an extent. I suppose it can be okay because, like in the Paper Mario games, it does the same thing. The higher your level, the less weaker monsters give experience. Didn't really mind it in those games for some reason, and I'm not sure what the difference is. I guess because in those games, in the Paper Mario games, I have an easier time with the battles, perhaps. Whereas in this game, I get my butt kicked constantly. I also had a lot of trouble playing Pokemon Black and White. So that would have to be to do part of it, something like that. So that is all my complaints and criticisms and suggestions and all that. I can definitely tell that you guys put a ton of effort into this game. I can't fault you for that. And again, because you put so much effort into this, that's what makes it so difficult to complain so much about this game, because it deserves to be enjoyed, I feel like. It just happened to fall apart in a few areas, and that's unfortunate. And in regards to the sequel that is in development at the time of this recording, it's definitely unfortunate that I wasn't able to enjoy this game, because I do want to see what happens next. But if the dungeons in the next game are going to be so big and exhausting to trudge through, and if the battles are going to be more complicated, even though I already had enough trouble with these battle systems, I'm not sure that I would have fun with the sequel. I mean, I'd like to play it for the sake of showing my viewers what happens next, but is it worth playing the next game if I'm just going to groan about it a whole bunch? Probably not. So, hopefully you can kind of take my suggestions in mind. Go ahead and try to advance the battle system if you want. Add some like extra features to the combat and that sort of thing. Again, make it a little easier for me to understand, because, you know, it took me, the whole game to finally get the hang of it. And then, yeah, maybe I would go ahead and take a look at it. As it stands right now, I'm just so exhausted. So, that is my review for this game. Now let's go ahead and bump over to the end slate. I'm going to close this out for YouTube, but I have announcements of what I'm going to be playing next. So stick around for that in just a moment. Those of you at YouTube, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in the next one.